Hey everybody, welcome to Personal Mastery Training. As the name says, it's about training and mastery of you, your personal self. There really is no, when I'm thinking about, there really is no enemy outside of us. Whether you're a competitor or in life, think about it. The competitor across the way who you're going to face, they're on their own journey, but who you're attempting to master is you, not them. You can't master them. What you can master is your own game, and then you show up your best self. So this is what it's about, personal mastery training. The podcast, I do 2 episodes. I do a strategy episode where I take a topic, a quote, any epiphany I've had from my clients. And because I realize that what I'm going through, you're going through that too. And we aren't special in our own way that we live our lives. So I can share something with you, nuggets, and I invite you on this journey to take your journal out, dissect it. You don't have to agree with me because I don't own the truth, but I want you actually just to stop and think, because I find we just run through our days and we don't stop and think. And when we go through experiences, I'm always saying this, that we shouldn't get through it, we should get from it. Because once we get from it, we can learn for the next time it happens, and it will happen again if you don't learn from it. So second one I do is a masterclass. I grab individuals that I find that are in the arena. They're mastering their game. They're working on themselves. They are putting in the work, and I get them to come on here and dig into their history, their journey, and peel out the nuggets and share it with you. So today, this lady's incredible. She's in a group that I share with her, the same group, and I just kept hearing her story, and I thought, and she's now on a crusade that we'll talk about afterwards, to the Army of Angels, but we'll talk about that. But let me tell you a little about Julia Shelley. Julia is a seasoned fitness competitor and a WBFF, so World Bodybuilding Federation, Fitness Federation, pro fitness champion with a bit of unique journey to the stage. Julia trained and coached herself for many years while working for the UN, the United Nations, stationed in various war zones abroad. She has done nearly every prep to stage from a different war zone, from Afghanistan, Sudan, South Sudan, Congo, Mali, and Uganda, demonstrating that you can accomplish great feats without all the fancy equipment or perfect scenarios. After 10 years and 34 hours abroad, while coaching on the side, training friends, co-workers, and putting soldiers through boot camps, Julia decided to come home to Canada to build her dream or passion called the Army of Angels. At Army of Angels, Julia coaches women looking to level up in all years of life, starting with fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset. Everyone, welcome Julia Shelley. That's Julia. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Alvin. Thanks for that.
Awesome. Great intro. So now that we've shared where you are now, Julia, did you just pop out of the womb all accomplished and brave and courageous? And tell us about, are you special?
Unique, I guess, but
Yeah.
we all are in our endeavors. So no, I've grown into every challenge, that's come across me in life, and they've changed along the way. So whether it started from, just traveling, getting out of my comfort zone, leaving my hometown, to, fitness challenges, not just in competitions before that as well, and career challenges, and now as an entrepreneur and a business challenge.
Love it. And what stimulated this need, this urge, this yearning to grow and to face challenges? What was that first beginning? What motivated you to push into fear?
Curiosity for the unknown. I just wanted to, initially it started with just wanting to see the world and leave my hometown. So I grew up in a smaller city, not too far from Toronto. And I just wanted to, get out there, see what else existed out there. There was,
Mhm.
we didn't have a lot growing up, so we never took family vacations or anything. I'd never been on an airplane. I think the furthest we'd gone is road trips within Ontario.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was just curious. I know it's hard to say where that came from. I think it was
Mm.
actually National Geographics when I was a kid. My
Mm.
grandmother had those, and I would stare at the pages of National Geographic, just wanting to visit Africa and South America and everywhere.
Mm.
And then that curiosity, once I started to do that, once I got to that point, and I started to realize I did all of that on my own, I wanted to know what else I could do, what else I could accomplish on my own. And then
Mhm.
that's gone into business, into fitness challenges, everything.
I love that because, and that you took it, you went right into what my next question was. Was there someone you saw or something you saw that influenced you to go out there into the unknown and to see what's out there? And you said National Geographic because a mind, there's a quote, right? I think it's Edison or someone said, a mind once stretched can't return to the same. So now how do you talk about new experiences, going into the unknown, having that courage to do it? How has each time you faced your fear and overcome it, how has it created who you are today?
Builds confidence with
Mm-hmm.
each challenge and each fear overcome, so that when I hit a roadblock and I feel like I have no idea how I'm going to get past this, I pull the motivation from my past self.
Mm.
So if there's something else, I do have many mentors and people that have inspired me and have challenged me along the way. And I am so grateful and lucky for them. But a lot of the times those exact people turn it back on me, like I do when I'm coaching my clients. And I
Mm-hmm.
ask them to pull from their past experiences. What have they overcome to
Mm-hmm.
get to the point they're at right now, to push forward to the next level?
Yeah. Who was your earliest mentor?
Oh my goodness. If it's in fitness, it
Mm.
would be Danielle Rubin. She's
Okay.
a IFBB fitness pro. So that
Mm-hmm.
would have been my first mentor when it comes to fitness. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even really know anything about competitions. We were personal trainers together at a gym in Guelph in my hometown. And so I got to know her there. And then she started competing. She was working towards her pro card, and she was still amateur at that time when I met her.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first few months of getting to know her, she had done her prep, achieved, or started prepping me as well. Shortly after, about a month or two into my prep, she achieved her IFBB pro card. And then a couple months later, I was on stage for the first time, and I was her very, very first client
Mm.
as well. So it was exciting to grow and go through that journey together.
Yeah.
Then I won my very first couple shows, actually. And
Mm-hmm.
so the pride that she had in herself as an athlete, but then
Yeah.
as a coach, being able to get me there,
Mm-hmm.
it inspired me so much, just to even want to be able to do that for others one day.
Yeah. And why fitness? How'd you get into fitness? What was your first? Yeah, why fitness as a path?
Okay, well, so going back to much earlier years, because a lot of people always ask, oh, were you really athletic in high school? Like what kind of teams were you on then? And I actually wasn't. So
Mm-hmm.
I, at least not in team sports, I did gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
I did cheerleading
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of years. And I absolutely love gymnastics, and I love the stunts in cheerleading. So that was a lot of fun as well. Um, but neither of them, they were only at the beginning. They didn't really continue on much later. And so I was in good shape, I guess. I was active. I was rollerblading, things like that, but I wasn't lifting weights. If I ever went to the gym, it was classes, something I felt comfortable in. I didn't feel comfortable in a big weight room with a bunch of guys.
Mm-hmm.
So most of my 20s, I wasn't into that. And then it wasn't until I decided to go back to school for policing.
Mm.
And that challenged me. So the fitness requirements for police challenged me to, work on strength, on running, all of that. So I started with signing up for half marathons. That led to eventually a 30K. And then I kind of got bored of running and I wanted to get strong.
Okay.
So I started concentrating on all of the other strength goals for the course, and then met Danielle, this fitness pro, and she took me on the path to, to competing. And I remember the first few workouts being too shy to go upstairs. So I would, hide in the women's only because I didn't think I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe how much that's grown.
Mm-hmm. Right? Unbelievable. And, so what are some of the key things you've learned from, challenging yourself? Again, the same curiosity you have about the unknown of the world, the same kind of curiosity that you kind of have when you started this fitness journey. You didn't know it was strange to you, but you use the same confidence, I guess, to keep knocking down one more wall and building your confidence. So if someone is in your position, there's lots of people out there, especially females, who think, the gym's scary, the guy's going to look at them or whatever. See, people don't want to enter gyms sometimes. They think they're going to get judged, and people are going to look at them. Meanwhile, you're in the gym now and you don't even look at anybody when they come in. You don't even care. You don't judge anyone. But what if someone's afraid to go in the gym right now and they're afraid to get started? And what are some of the things you would advise them on to just get going?
I would advise them, if they're feeling awkward about that at first, that sometimes group atmospheres help, and classes, I know they helped me because I felt in those early stages that I could sort of hide in the back even if I wanted to. So that helped me. I wasn't ready to jump into the weight room right away. And when I actually did start with the women's only. So thankfully, as a woman, I was able to do that. But I would also say that going with somebody, having an accountability partner, a workout partner, or a personal trainer or a coach, somebody that is going to pull you in there, get you feeling a lot more comfortable. If it is a friend or a workout partner, hopefully they have a little bit of a background and are comfortable and kind of pull that person in. But if they don't have that, just to go straight to a personal trainer or coach, because just bypass all of the, all of the mistakes that we've all made.
Yeah. Wandering around the gym, looking at the machines that are strange, right?
Or possibly injuring themselves, doing it wrong. Yeah.
100%. Now, talking about, long ago, the reason why I'm fascinated with this journey of mastery is I was watching, so I boxed when I was younger and did a lot of different martial arts, box, dance competitively, and so on and so on. Now, as I was listening to somebody just a few years ago, and they asked him, why did you do all of that? Why did he's in the MMA. He said, the truth. I was looking for the truth. That's what every challenge does. I want you to think about that for a second and think about your journey, coming from low, socioeconomically struggling in, with your home life, and how each challenge you face got you closer to your truth, to who you really are, and you're continuing, as we talked about, you're continuing to evolve even more in this army of angels, this crusade you're on. So how does each challenge, what do you talk to someone about actually leaning into their challenge, and how that leads to truth, more of you?
How do I talk to my
client? How do you say to somebody listening, Julia, from where you started, the unknown, to now Julia today, confident, more confident, still more to go, but more confident now, and from where you were, and how each challenge got you closer to your truth?
Well, I think when I'm talking to clients or, people on social media or friends, I usually do try to pull from their own past and their stories, but I also try to share some of mine so that they can see the background, so they know that I wasn't just blessed. I didn't just, I wasn't always athletic. I grew into this. I through many awkward stages, got to this level, and that the same thing happened with my comfort in traveling, in, educating myself, further courses, and on, as well as, business now, which is probably my scariest feat, I feel, so far. So I think about my granddad asked me once, when I was stationed in Afghanistan and I came home and I was visiting with my family, and my granddad said, I don't understand. Like, where did you get the courage to go there?
There
Where
you
did this
go.
come from? No one in our family has served. No, we've barely traveled. I don't understand how this grew, how you grew into this, to this point.
Yeah.
And that I just always think about that, because whenever I am worried about whatever state I'm at and what's going to come next and how I'm going to get there, I think about that and him asking me that day.
There you go.
Because I didn't really know what to say back to him, except that I just took the first step.
Oh, that's it.
I started with Europe and then the Caribbean. And, you know, eventually I think my first country in Africa was Ghana. And I lived there for a month, my first time to Africa. And, you know, I learned so much. And then from there, it went to the Middle East. And then it ended up being like half of Africa I've covered by now. And it just growing. And I started to realize that the world isn't as scary as people think it is, what they see on the news, and that we really have to educate ourselves and get out there and go and see and meet different people to really have a broad understanding of this world.
Julia, see, that's it. You hit it bullseye, and that's the truth. That is your truth. See, as you said, sometimes when that's why this is one reason why I don't read or buy into the news, because news are there to sell you the doom, the gloom, because that sells. It's a business. So now you've gone out to Africa, you've gone out all over the world, and you're finding truth about you, who Julia is, more of who you are. And then you're finding out truth about the world, that it's not what we're led to believe. And so amazing. That's exactly where every time you face a challenge, your grandpa asks you, how, where did you come from? Because they're sitting back in that small town going, oh, the world, right? Some people have never left their town.
Yes.
And it seems scary. Toronto seems scary to people.
Yes. Much of my family.
Right.
They won't even get on the 401.
It won't seem scary. They have not even left their town. So, and that's what I mean. Every time you face your challenge, that's the true mastery. You get to truth. You get closer to your truth, and you're still on that path now. So tell us about things you've learned. And we don't have enough time to dive into all the things you've learned about traveling, but out of all your travels and the places you've been, what's the biggest eye-opening epiphany that you've gotten from that?
Oh my goodness. It's
I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's just been so many, especially with traveling, especially the people I've had the chance to meet.
How about that? Cultures and people. What's your outlook on that now?
So I think that the biggest lesson with my travels is, that has given me strength, and I still draw from today, is some of the people that I have met, where people would, if they haven't left their hometown, if they haven't traveled, if they haven't really pushed their boundaries, they might come to conclusions or generalize, what they're capable of, or other people. Yeah. And so with the UN, I didn't just fly, regular kind of Cancun turnarounds or anything like that. Right. Passengers were unique, special, all different levels of the UN staff, refugees, rehabilitated child soldiers, lots of rescue missions, whether it was Ebola or COVID, of course, recently, countless rescue missions, peace talks where you're bringing in the good guys and the bad guys, and, and there's a lot of eyes on you. You're in the media, everyone's watching, you're a high target. So really interesting flights. And so it's hard to pick one, but one that really was special to me was during the pandemic, like heavily isolated, of course, in order for us to work, which was very essential, of course. We had to be locked down in a hotel room with, a guard at the door. We couldn't leave. in order to work and to keep our passengers safe and everything. So for 3 months, I lived in a bedroom by myself. And so I'm feeling so sorry for myself, like I'm in jail and everything. And near the end of the 3 months, the last passengers that I flew were prisoners. Go figure. And they were locked up in Yemen. We went to go pick them up in Yemen. And they had been locked up for anywhere from 4 to 7 years. There were 7 passengers.
What?
Yeah. And
wow.
they were locked up for their religious belief. So they were of a faith that was not recognized or, didn't want to be celebrated in Yemen. And so they were locked up. But they weren't just locked up, they were also tortured. Right. So, I mean, I'm sure Yemen jail is a bit different than we might have. So we went to pick them up, and it was a long process to get them even on the flight. They were still, the UN lawyers were still fighting for their release. And when they finally got to us, because they got on the plane at one point, then they were taken off. So it was very emotional. We finally got them back and we're about to leave. And they're so happy and they're celebrating. They've been tortured for 7 years and they're sitting on the plane, and it's COVID. So everybody's normally separated. No, these people were all together. They just couldn't wait to be close to each other. Yeah. And so I took some pictures for them and everything, which ended up in, the papers the next day. And I actually kept in touch with them. Yeah. And a couple of weeks later, when I was leaving Ethiopia, I ran into them. We all left at the same time, ran into them in the airport. We took all these pictures together, and they told me their story that entire flight. And they talked about the torture. They talked about everything they had been through, but they were so happy. And they were all immigrating to Europe and the States at that point. Because the deal was, as long as they don't go back to Yemen, they just needed to leave Yemen. Yeah. And here I was feeling so sorry for myself for the past 3 months, being locked up in my room by myself. And those were tough times for all of us. But meeting them, I felt like it was meant to be, that I met them that day at that time. I needed that. And I never forgot them. I still have all the pictures. The pictures were in the paper the next day. Of everyone together, and they taught me a huge life lesson. So many of my passengers along the way have taught me similar lessons, where it made me reflect on how thankful I actually am, and express gratitude for the life that I've been so lucky to have. And that gives me motivation to live it the best way possible.
Okay. See, no, that's what I'm talking about. Perspective. You got perspective. Right. So that is amazing. And my mentor, and I'm going to do the same thing to you as he did to me. There's a book in you. There's a book here. This is a book to help move that crusade of the Army of Angels forward. There's a book here. So, but I'll bug you about that later. Yeah. All right. Now let's talk about your business, the Army of Angels. Let's talk about now this mission, the new mission you're on, the freedom mission that you're on. The Army of Angels. Tell us about that.
Well, Army of Angels was created, just this past, it's not even a year, I guess it was May, but the name came later. So I started with my first group last May, and it went really, really well. Thankfully, being, competing for a long time and having a bit of a presence on social media that way kind of helped. So when I first launched, I had a fantastic group of women join right off the bat, and I feel so connected with all of them on so many different levels. But I was still with the UN, so I still went back overseas on a deployment again while I was with them, and then I finally decided to move on. They were experiencing the most amazing results. We were so close. It was everything I had envisioned and dreamed of for years. And I just thought, well, I've got to burn the boats. I've got to jump all in. This is my future. And for these women, not just for me, but experiencing or going through those changes with them and seeing what they were capable of. I just feel like this is what I'm meant to do. So I finally left the UN after 10 years. And I'm full-time coaching. I've got an amazing group of women, and we're just growing. So we've got, in every way. So with more clients, but also with what we're able to offer. So now the presentations are getting better. We meet once a week. It's not just about fitness and nutrition. I always try to teach them something new about their journey that they're going to experience along the way. So we have different talks every week. You actually inspired me for tonight's talk. Tonight is our meeting. We're going to talk about the 7 layers of why.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And when do you, let's go forward 10 years from now. You know, we can go longer, but let's choose a number, 10 years. In 10 years, it's January 26, 2033.
Yeah.
What happens? What's happening with this group? How many lives have you changed, and how did you change it?
Well, there will be different levels to it by then. So right now there's more, high level one-on-one and group coaching. By then I would love to have, I will far before then have a team of other coaches that I really trust and, want to coach at the same standard as I do. So we'll be building the team together in that way, still have that community. I want to be able to do starting this year, but I want to get to at least 3 retreats per year. So I'll have one in North America, whether it's Canada or the US, and then one in South America, and then one in either Thailand or Bali, something like that.
I love it.
Three retreats a year where we can all get together and meet, as well as, fitness, yoga, photo shoots, all of that together. And just keep growing the community beyond the clients I have for this level of coaching. I would love to be able to have an app that just has workouts as well, so that people that maybe aren't ready for that level of coaching could follow along with some of my workouts. And then continue doing speaking engagements, because there's many other ways that we can reach people. And while I would love to, my book, well, the book will be written by then, 10 years
right,
now.
exactly.
I mean, I did start it actually.
Good. All right, I knew it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, the thing when you wrote, so Julia wrote a couple of goals down for me. And I usually dissect the goals, and what's great about the goals that you wrote?
Yeah.
It's not, I wish, I'm going to try, everything Julia wrote was, I want, which tells me that it's something that you want, not trying to do. You don't need, you want. So, and when you review this and listen to how she described 10 years from now, it's going to happen. It's already in her mind. I can tell it's already done. It's just a matter of putting in the work now in order to get to that vision of that goal. So, and you know what I also see as you're talking, I see you taking, as we talked about earlier, challenges, you find truth in a challenge. I see you taking these women to these places and taking them through boot camps that will challenge them and make them grow, and coming out of that challenge is going to be their truth, and they can leave that experience with even more clarity and truth about, it's going to be great.
That's my ultimate goal. That's what I want for them. And that's why, some of my current clients, they're the ones that gave me the faith to finally shut that door with the UN, though I had a great experience and I'm so grateful for it, but to move on, because they experienced, such a profound change, not in just their fitness goals, but how that affected other goals that they wanted to achieve. So, I've got one client that is a fantastic musician. She's the lead flautist in a certain very large symphony. Okay.
Right. Yep.
And I'm just honored that this woman has come to me, and I've gone to see her play a few times now. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're similar age.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize what else she was striving for. So I just thought she was coming here for, to certain fitness goal. But a little while ago we talked, and she said, because of this journey, I am now chasing my career goals. So I actually want to work for this symphony that's even bigger. And that is where I'm going next. And because of this, I've applied, and she is crushing every audition. And I'm on edge. I can't wait to see where it goes.
It's great. I wrote down here. Sometimes we have to give up good to get to our greatness.
Yes.
So the UN was good. And it was great at one time. It was actually was great when you're in your small town and you're attempting to explore. It was great. But then finally, there's levels to this game. And now it moved from great to good. It now became the foundation that you sit on to now look ahead and see what's next great for me. You know, how can I evolve? So this is awesome. Now, how can our audience start? Where can they get see more of you, get it, follow the crusade of the Army of Angels? How can they get into it? And do you offer, is it live, online, virtual? Tell me more about the model of Army of Angels.
Yeah, sure. So I coach through an app that I have the workouts and, the nutrition and all of those aspects in. We also meet as a community once a week. We will have 1 hour Zoom calls as a community. So they all get to know each other as well and talk about their struggles, their wins, everything along the way. Right. I have modules with presentations on, anything from macros and mindset, progressive overload, all of that. So there's tons, about 24 modules and growing right now. Right. So there's lots to learn. And because that's a part of it, they need to understand the why they're doing all of these things. So they keep going. Yeah. And then, there is a level where some clients choose to also do one-on-one calls as well with me. I have that available. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Okay, great. And website, social media?
Social media right now. So it's Julia Shelley, and that's Shelley, because it's different for some. And that is my main page on Instagram. And then Army of Angels is our team page, the business page. And Julia Shelley at armyofangels.ca is my email.
Awesome. That'll all be in the show notes. And you can follow Julia, inspiring. I follow her on both of her platforms. Yeah, very inspiring. So, because, even though Julia's demographic is a female, anybody can be inspired by an adventurous journey. So awesome. Julia, thank you again for coming on here, and I'm inspired, and I hope our audience, and my goal was to pull it out of you, because I know Julia's shy too, pull it out of her, that thing that makes her keep pushing forward and seeing new boundaries and breaking through those boundaries and seeing the world like for what it is. Although the news tells us a different story, it's a beautiful world out there, and you've seen it. You've seen all kinds of people, the fabric of the world, and it's not that scary.
It's beautiful.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. All right, everybody. So visit Julia on her social media, watch her journey, join in her journey, ask her about how you can be a part of the Army of Angels and get started. And keep looking out for more from her. I think, we're going to see a lot from Julia in the future, and I'm going to get her back on here again to do that. So, all right, everybody, until next time, Julia, thanks again. You all know why I do this, because I want you to be relentless about your pursuit for personal mastery. Until next time, like, subscribe, share. Someone you know might need this information. We'll talk soon.